those feelings? Does it feel fair? What sounds do you have like when you go to get water? So tapping into kind of like that cultural perspective. Sorry, a little under the weather. Um, from that launch, so from that hook, basically we take a look at soundscapes, prior knowledge, like students should have knowledge of creating a soundscape already. But basically they're creating a soundscape to with other students about that journey to get water, and then they can present it to the rest of the class. So a pretty simple activity, but with the right kind of teacher prompted questions that can inspire things like environmental protection, a lot of water advocacy, and kind of unpack that into the bigger picture. And then ideally we can kind of cross-curricular it as well and talk about what's happening in maybe language or social studies. This was for a grade 2 class with the other teachers to see like, okay, like let's like maybe you can build some more initiatives, or maybe they're reading that story as well in their language class, and then they can go on to make some water advocacy for protection things um, for those other subjects as well, which is kind of super important stuff, right? Like that's when we're taking music now and we're applying it to the bigger picture of how music can like draw things, solve problems, bring people together, and how we can do great learning through that creative process. So my last ILP, a highlight. So this one was about exploring rhythm with syllables. Sorry, one moment. Okay, so for this one, this is actually an activity that I adapted. Last year I was able to attend a workshop about cross-curricular, so integrating music through other subjects. And specifically it was like integrating music to literacy. So that was kind of like the main driving feature of this lesson. So exploring rhythm with syllables. And for this one, basically what it is, I'll just show you in a second here what it looks like. But it would definitely be teacher modeled first, and this might take a whole class on its own, depending on the class and the prior knowledge that the students might have. It uses the Kodai rhythm symbols, but then we can start to get into some notation as well if students are ready, or both. So in that regards, it's kind of differentiated and can offer many extensions for this lesson. But basically, we start off with something like this. So just the top part would be there. So we'll go over some of the Kodai symbols, and then we'll relate it to syllables. So we're integrating music, rhythm with like a literacy context. So in this case, we're exploring syllables. Ideally, we're talking to the English language arts teacher beforehand. And what's cool about this one, so basically what happens is we show this and then we come up with a theme. So it can be any theme. This one is clearly fruits. So basically, so up here, so we have ta is one syllable. So we're asking questions like, okay, can anyone think of a fruit that has like one syllable? Hopefully we get some responses. And again, the more model, the better, because obviously, as you can probably start to tell, the next step is for them to get into partners or groups or on their own and basically like create this chart, and they can choose their own Kodai symbols and then put the respective like syllable words underneath. I put the goal for this one for grade 3 to come up with at least like 2 bars, but extensions they could go on. They could then like do another page on like another either paper or whiteboard, ideally, and they could change up the Kodai symbols if they're ready for an extension. They could add even like more ones or more complex rhythm symbols as well. So here we have ta, the example would be pear, tt, 2 syllables, so that would orange, and then we have 3 symbols for titika. What is that one there? Strawberry. And then we have tika tika, 4 syllables, watermelon. And when it's all put together with a theme, then we can kind of like go through it and keep the beat. So pear, orange, strawberry, watermelon, and then they would go for the next one. Um, if that's too much, you could keep it super simple. You could just do like just one syllable, two syllable, one syllable, two syllable again. Um, it's kind of important to like give them lots of modeling, and for in terms of like the prior knowledge and accommodations, things like that, like you might be needing to give them the themes and even like the words, like just brainstorming a whole bunch. But they might be ready for it. Definitely, if we want to make it more culturally responsive, they could think of, like each student could think of a theme that's meaningful to them. That's a big part of their life. So it could be, for some, might just be something like video games, or for some might be nature, or for some might be a celebration that their family has, or the place where they live. So yeah, it can be pretty open ended in terms of the words that they're putting in there, but it could be done individually. It could be done in groups. For ELL learners as well, like they can use like their home, like their native language as well. It does not have to be like English. It could be syllables in any with words from any language. That'd be amazing learning and amazing sharing as well. So, and then with partners, kind of the highlight for this one is they both create, and they could do it together or not, but as one is kind of reading the syllable words, one can be tapping the beat. And then probably what's best is at first that's happening through body percussion. And then once the teacher comes over, so once I come over, and then I can give them some prompting questions, and I can also activate for knowledge there too. I made a checklist for this one of things like, okay, are they getting it? Like, are they putting the right syllables with the right Kadai symbols? Might be good to like just like